Hello all, I am Vijayendra Reddy, Current Affairs faculty. In today's video lecture, we will see some of the major national events that happened from November 1st to 10th of this year, that is 2017. First, we will start with the reconstitution of Interstate Council. The Interstate Council has been reconstituted with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi as its chairman. I will tell you first what is this Interstate Council. Interstate Council is a constitutional body, and there is a provision under Article 263 of the Constitution to start Interstate Council, and it was started in the year 1990 based on the recommendations of the Sarkaria Commission. These two are very important. On which committees or on which commission's recommendations Interstate Council was started in the year 1990? The answer is Sarkaria Commission. And the Interstate Council or ISC is mandated or authorized to investigate and advise the disputes between the states. So, this Interstate Council was reconstituted under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and now the Interstate Council has 6 union cabinet ministers, and the chief ministers of all the 29 states and the chief ministers of 2 union territories that have legislative assemblies. 2 union territories in India have legislative assemblies. One is Delhi, its CM is Arvind Kejriwal, and Puducherry, its CM is V. Narayanasamy. So, all the 31 chief ministers of these 29 states and 2 union territories included are members of this Interstate Council, and the 6 union cabinet ministers are Rajnath Singh, Home Minister; Arun Jaitley, Finance Minister; Sushma Swaraj, External Affairs Minister; Nirmala Sitharaman, the Defence Minister; the Nitin Gadkari is the Road Transport Minister; and Thawar Chand Gehlot, Social Justice and Empowerment Ministers. So, these 6 ministers are members of this newly reconstituted Interstate Council. And apart from these chief ministers and 6 union ministers, 8 other union ministers are made permanent invitees to this Interstate Council. On the same day, the government also reconstituted the Interstate Council Standing Committee. So, you should be very careful about this. Interstate Council is different from Interstate Council Standing Committee. Interstate Council Standing Committee chairman is Home Minister Rajnath Singh, and this standing committee has 4 union ministers and 7 chief ministers as members. I will tell all these 4 union ministers who are members of Interstate Council Standing Committee: Arun Jaitley, Sushma Swaraj, then Nitin Gadkari and Thawar Chand Gehlot. And the 7 states chief ministers who are members of this Interstate Council Standing Committee are Andhra Pradesh CM Chandrababu Naidu, Punjab CM Amarinder Singh, Chhattisgarh CM Raman Singh, Tripura CM Manik Sarkar, Odisha CM Naveen Patnaik, Rajasthan CM Vasundhara Raje, and Uttar Pradesh CM Yogi Adityanath. I am repeating, you should be very careful in your exam. Interstate Council chairman is the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whereas the Interstate Council Standing Committee chairman is Rajnath Singh, India's Home Minister. Then what is the job of this Interstate Council Standing Committee? It will monitor the implementation of the decisions taken on the recommendations of the Interstate Council. So, this is about the latest reconstitution of Interstate Council. From Interstate Council, we will move to World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Index 2017. World Economic Forum is a not-for-profit organization which is based in Cologne near Geneva in Switzerland, and it was started in 1971, and its founder and present executive chairman is Klaus Schwab. And since 2006, this World Economic Forum is releasing Global Gender Gap Report, and as per the latest Global Gender Gap Index, which was released in November 2017, India is ranked at a very low 108 out of 144 countries. So, India's rank in the latest global gender gap index is 108 out of 144 countries. India has actually slipped 21 positions from the last year's, that is 2016 gender gap index rankings. In 2016, India's rank was 87, whereas the latest it is 108. And among all the BRICS countries, India's rank is the lowest. And not only that, India's rank of 108 is the lowest ever since this global gender gap report is published from 2006. And the topper of this latest global gender gap index is Iceland. Iceland is a small country in Europe. And you also remember the 4 indicators that are taken to measure the global gender gap index. These 4 indicators are health, education, then economic participation and opportunity, and political empowerment. So, these 4 factors, that is health, education, economic participation and opportunity and political empowerment, are taken into consideration while preparing every year global gender gap index. So, these are very important points for your exam. Which organization or which institution every year publishes global gender gap index? Then the answer is World Economic Forum. What is India's rank in the latest report? India's rank is 108 out of 144. Or which country is the most gender equal country? Then the answer is Iceland. That means Iceland is the topper of this list, that is it is the world's most gender equal country. Then another very negative news for India is ASSOCHAM EY report. ASSOCHAM is Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and this ASSOCHAM, which is a business organization, along with Ernst & Young or EY, it has published a study in November 2017, and as per this study, India has the world's highest number of malnourished children. This study says that nearly 40% of India's children are malnourished or undernourished. Not only that, it says that on the other hand, urban India is facing the challenge of overnutrition. India today has become the 3rd most obese country in the world. Obese means fat. India is the 3rd most obese country in the world after America and China. And another shocking thing is, India is called the diabetes capital of the world. Nearly 7 crore people in India are suffering from diabetes. So, these 3 are the findings of this ASSOCHAM EY report. India has the highest number of malnourished children. India is called the diabetes capital because 7 crore Indians have diabetes, and India is the 3rd most obese country in the world after America and China. So, remember all these 3 major findings of this study. Then in New Delhi, a big event happened from November 3rd to 5th, and that event is World Food India 2017. This is the first time an event called World Food India was organized in India, and this event was organized at the India Gate lawns in New Delhi by the Ministry of Food Processing Industries along with CII, Confederation of Indian Industries. So, which ministry has organized this World Food India 2017? It is the Ministry of Food Processing Industries with the help of CII, Confederation of Indian Industries. It is another business organization, and it was inaugurated by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And in this event, the Prime Minister has launched a portal called Nivesh Bandhu, which means investor's friend. Nivesh Bandhu means investor's friend. And for this event, many global business leaders in food industry came and they participated in this World Food India 2017. And 3 countries are the partner countries. They are Japan, Germany and Denmark. And 2 European countries are focus countries. These 2 European countries are Italy and Netherlands. So, see the question carefully. What are the 3 partner countries for World Food India 2017? It is Japan, Germany and Denmark, but whereas the 2 focus countries are Italy and Netherlands. The theme of this World Food India 2017 is transforming the food economy. Transforming the food economy is the theme of this World Food India. Andhra Pradesh was represented by the Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, whereas Telangana was represented by the Information Technology and Industries Minister K. Taraka Rama Rao. And at this World Food India, another very special event happened. India has created a Guinness World Record by preparing khichdi, which is 918 kgs. 918 kgs khichdi was prepared by India and it is a world record, and this cooking process was headed by a very famous celebrated chef called Sanjeev Kapoor. So, Sanjeev Kapoor is the head of this cooking team that prepared the 918 kgs khichdi, which happened during this World Food India 2017 festival that happened in New Delhi in November 2017. Then during this period, one more event happened, that is the anniversary of the demonetization. Remember, on November 8, 2016, the government has demonetized 2 high value notes, that is rupees 500 and rupees 1000. So, the first anniversary of this demonetization happened on November 8th, that is this year, November 8, 2017, and the Bharatiya Janata Party has marked this November 8th as Anti-Block Money Day. BJP has celebrated this as Anti-Block Money Day, and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that it is a decisive victory of the Indian people over black money. BJP celebrated this November 8th as Anti-Block Money Day, whereas the opposition, that is the Congress party, marked this event as Block Day. So, the day is November 8th, demonetization day. Then another record set up by India is world's highest motorable road was constructed in Ladakh region in Jammu and Kashmir. The Border Roads Organization, or BRO, has constructed the world's highest motorable road in Ladakh region, which is in Jammu and Kashmir, and this road passes through Wumlingla Pass or Wumlingla Top, and this road is constructed at height of over 19,300 feet. So, you remember this pass or top, Wumlingla, and the height is 19,300 feet height, and this road is constructed in Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir. And this road is constructed under the project Himank. Remember the project name? Project name is Himank, constructed by Border Roads Organization. Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to Chennai to attend the 75-year celebrations of a very leading Tamil newspaper called Dinatanthi. This Dinatanthi celebrated its Platinum Jubilee in November 2017, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended this event. Dinatanthi is a very popular Tamil daily. It was started way back in 1942, and in 2017 it is celebrating 75 years of its existence. And this 75 years of Dinatanti newspaper celebrations. This event was also attended by India's Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Tamil Nadu Governor Banwarilal Purohit and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E.K. Palaniswamy. Then we will see some appointments that happened during this period. I will tell you 3-4 very important appointments. All are very important for your exam. One is Ajay Bisaria. Ajay Bisaria has been appointed as India's new High Commissioner to Pakistan. Ajay Bisaria is the 1987 batch IFS Indian Foreign Service Officer and he takes over from Gautam Bambawale. Gautam Bambawale has been posted as Indian Ambassador to China. So, you remember both these appointments. Ajay Bisaria is Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, whereas Gautam Bambawale has been posted as Indian Ambassador to China. And Ajay Bisaria's appointment comes at a time when the dialogue process between India and Pakistan is stalled for or is stopped for almost 2 years. So, Ajay Bisaria is going to Pakistan at a very crucial time as Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. You should also remember the difference between High Commissioner and Ambassador. Indian envoys appointed to Commonwealth countries are called High Commissioners. So, what are Commonwealth countries? The countries which were once ruled by the British are called Commonwealth countries, and the envoys who are posted in Commonwealth countries are called High Commissioners, whereas the Indian envoys posted in non-Commonwealth countries are called as ambassadors. Otherwise, their duties are same. They are Indian diplomats. From Ajay Bisaria, Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, we will move to another very important appointment, a very famous bureaucrat. His name is Hasmukh Adhia. Hasmukh Adhia, who is India's Revenue Secretary, has got elevation and he has been appointed as India's new Finance Secretary in place of Ashok Lavasa. So, who is the new Finance Secretary of India? It is Hasmukh Adhia, who is the 1981 batch IAS cadre officer of Gujarat state. So, he is 1981 batch IAS officer of Gujarat cadre. Hasmukh Adhia is the new Finance Secretary of India, very important post. And Hasmukh Adhia has been involved in designing many social security schemes like Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, Atal Pension Yojana, and not only these social security schemes, he is also involved in Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, in the designing of all these very big schemes. Hasmukh Adhia is involved, and now today he is India's Finance Secretary. Then there is one woman called Debjani Ghosh. Debjani Ghosh is going to be the first ever woman president of NASSCOM. What is this NASSCOM? NASSCOM is an organization that represents more than 2,100 information technology companies. So, NASSCOM represents nearly 2,100 IT companies, and NASSCOM stands for National Association of Software and Service Companies. And first time NASSCOM is going to have a woman president, and her name is Debjani Ghosh. She is former managing director of Intel South Asia. But she will come only in the next year. That means she will take over from R. Chandrasekhar in March 2018, and the appointment was made very recently. So, Debjani Ghosh is going to become the new NASSCOM president in March 2018. Apart from these appointments, many important persons in the world visited India during this period, and among them 3 royal couples are there. one royal couple is from Bhutan, which is a South Asian country, and two royal couples are from Europe. First, it was Bhutanese royal couple, and Bhutan king and queen visited India. Bhutan's king's name is Jigme Kesar Namgyal Wangchuk. He, along with his wife Queen Jetsun Pema, and their 1-year-old son Prince Jigme Wangchuk visited India. They met Indian President Ramnath Kovind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, then India's External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, and so on. So, they met so many dignitaries when they visited India, and the king of Bhutan, Jigme Kesar Namgyal Wangchuk's visit is very important, because this visit came just 2 months after the Doklam crisis was resolved. Remember, Doklam is a tri-junction of India, Bhutan and China, and there was a standoff at Doklam between India and China till the other day. And Bhutan is also important for another reason. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose to visit Bhutan as his first abroad visit after he became the Prime Minister in 2014. So, his first foreign visit was to Bhutan in the year 2014. And another important thing you should remember is India and Bhutan are celebrating their golden jubilee of diplomatic relations next year. That is, India and Bhutan are completing 50 years of diplomatic ties next year, that is in 2018. After the royal couple of Bhutan's visit to India, Belgium king and queen also visited our country. Belgium king is Philip, you remember these names? Belgium king is Philip and the queen is Matilda. So, King Philip and the Queen Matilda of Belgium also visited our country. And after the Belgium royal couple's visit, Prince Charles of Wales and his wife Camilla also visited our country. And during their meeting with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Prince Charles of Wales has invited the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to United Kingdom next year for a very big summit, for a very big Commonwealth summit, which is called as CHOGM. So, CHOGM is the name of the Commonwealth summit, and next year, that is in 2018, United Kingdom is going to host this CHOGM. CHOGM stands for Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting, and India is a member of this Commonwealth group. And I already told Commonwealth is a group of countries which were ruled by the British. India is a member, so India will attend this CHOGM, which will happen in 2018 in United Kingdom. And Narendra Modi was invited personally by the Prince Charles of Wales. Then another very important dignitary who visited India during this period in November 2017 is Kristalina Georgieva. Kristalina Georgieva of Bulgaria is the first ever chief executive officer of World Bank, and she visited India in November 2017. And she said that India will become a high middle income economy. I am repeating, India will become a high middle income economy by the year 2047, the year in which we are going to celebrate our 100 years of independence. So, by 2047, as per Kristalina Georgieva, India will become a high middle income economy. Not only that, Kristalina Georgieva praised India, saying that India jumped 30 places in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report, which is a very, very rare achievement for any country. Remember, in the latest World Bank's Ease of Doing Business index, India is ranked 100, and it is when compared to the last report, India has jumped 30 places. That means in the last report, that is for 2017, it was 130, but for the latest 2018 World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index, India is ranked exactly 100, which is a very big achievement for our country. And Kristalina Georgieva, World Bank CEO, also praised our country for this very particular reason. Then as far as defense news is concerned, finally, India has successfully test-fired Nirbhay, which is a subsonic missile. Nirbhay is an indigenously built subsonic cruise missile, and it was launched from the integrated test range at Chandipur in Odisha in November 2017. Nirbhay means fearless. So, what is this Nirbhay? I said that it is a subsonic missile. That means it travels at a speed less than the speed of sound. Nirbhay's speed is 0.6 to 0.7 Mach, whereas the speed of sound is 1 Mach. And Nirbhay's strike range is 1000 kilometers. That means it can hit the targets which are 1000 kilometers away from it, and it can carry warheads which are weighing up to 300 kg. So, remember both, it can carry warheads up to 300 kg and its strike range is 1000 kilometers. And this Nirbhay is also developed by DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization. Remember what is Nirbhay? Nirbhay is a long range indigenously developed subsonic missile.